Hi guys, and welcome to JavaScript tutorial of a multiplication timetable. Right, let me show you guys how this works. If I enter another value to be multiplied there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Notepad++. I will start a new project entirely. First of all, let's define the following. And I'm also going to add this. And if I'm adding backslash, I would also add this, add a backslash, and this time use that up as well. All right, and just for your information, the language I intend to use is going to be HTML. I'm going to come in there and select HTML. There we go. And I'm going to go straight into the file now, and let's save. Let's give it a name. I'm going to call it timetable all YT. There we go. And the next thing I'm going to do now is just to define the body of the program, of the project there. And next, let's talk about the font family. We'll be using different font family. Let's select Shogun, Ceiling, and then I'm going to put a comma here and just select area as well. So the system will have a choice of which font to use. And have the right font. Okay. That is there. Next, let's define the width. I'm gonna make that about 300 pixels. Close that off. And margin will be from the top. So margin, I'm gonna make that about 100. So that system can look like it's in the middle. 100 pixels. What about the border? Let's put a border around it. I'm gonna make that about 10 pixels. Let's leave the border beige color. Right, so the I'm gonna leave that about 20 pixels. Okay, so the body is the alright, so let's take care of one other thing. Next is going to be the label. Yeah, yes. So the label, and the label would have to display something for me. So display that is going to be and next is going to be font width. So I can make the font width bold width. Like that. And margin is going to be bottom. Bottom axis. Then the font size. You should put the font here, font size. I'm going to make that about 6. and that is taken care of. Next, we take care of the input. So the input is like the text box. So let's come down here. Just say input. Then whatever will go in there should be in form of an array. So let's say type input that is going to be input text anyway. Right. Then the width of that, I'll make it about 50. Now let's make it about 95. Then the padding, I'm gonna make that about 6. Yeah, 6. Next, I'm gonna make font size. Yeah, let's set it for 20 as well. And margin, so size. Let's get this in bit. So that's something. Okay, getting there. All right. So next is going to be the selector and the button as well. So let's close this one up here. Yeah. So here should we have a statement up and close out the statement up there. Okay. Next is going to be the selector. So here with the selector we have weight and so on. So I can just grab all of this. So now yeah, so select. There. So I'll make this 100 and I need items from there. I want to make the item about, I make that 300. This will give me an error. This should be 100%. Yeah. Okay. And the font is 20. Margin, yeah, let's make that about 20. Okay. So this is going to be the center as well. All right. All that done. Now let's create the buttons. Wrap this down. Just buttons. And that is, so the button will have the width. Let's grab all of this and just change what you don't need. So when you enter the button, the width is going to be 100. The padding, let's make that about 10. No height. Get rid of that. Then the font, that's correct. Then margin, get rid of the margin. I'm going to need background. What about the, let it be bold. Let's come in here. Double of this. Like that. Okay. I'll be missing here. Yes, see. Yeah. Okay, so it is bold back color. say background color name, background color. I'm going to make the background color maybe white. White. And what about the border? You can say border. Okay, border. I'll make it about 2 pixels thick. And it's going to be solid. And what color should it be? I'm going to search for it. Well, X is going to be black. Here. And the cursor should be a pointer. So there, that should be a pointer. The artist at the bottom. Alright, I'll do one more thing. When my mouse is in, I like it to just show that the mouse is in, so I can say button over, button over. Okay, when the button is over, the background color should change to faded blue. Okay. And in that case, the font will change to white. I'll take care of that. All right, the next thing now is let's create a body. So for the body, it's going to have a heading. So let's come down here and just say body. Let's close that body again. And I'm going to also have a script in there. Let's just put script. So that script. Just okay, right here, the body. I'm going to enter my title. This should be my title. Let's grab all of this. Now I'm gonna make the size maybe about H. Let's say H2. And now it goes on H2 here. There. So that takes care of that. Now, following object that I intend to use, label. Oh, that will be equals. I'll just give that label a name. You don't have to, but I can just call it L times table. Have to be I think that makes sense, and we'll give it anything. And here, let's call it enter number. That's going to be label. Now, this here is closed. All right. Label. Okay, next is let's create the input. input type is going to be sticks. ID plus txt. So text box with official experience. Let's move the weight. That will be enter. Number. You don't have to add a placeholder. So it's all right. That is taken care of. Next is the task selector. This one. Let's take care of that. So the selector is just like in any other programming language what you refer to as a list box. So the selector, that's ID is going to be, I'm going to call it this. So I'll change this to TST, the LST table. So that is for the selector. And the size of it, let's make that equals about 12. Let's do that. Next is going to be the button. Take care of the button. Come right down here. This button. And this button, the ID, I'm going to call it LBL, whatever. So let's grab all of these. ID is going to be BTN, I mean. BTN, that stands for button. The size, get rid of the size, we don't need that. And what's going to be there? So an button is going to be times table. So grab all of this, dump it right here. Times table. There. That takes care of the button, but let's change this one to button. Right, now that that is done, all we then need to do is to take care of the script. But let's make sure it's still saved. So the script will be just for the, before we go any further, by the way, let me just save it. Okay, let's try this out to see what I've done so far. The interface should be ready by now. Okay, let's run it and see. It's right here somewhere. Times table. There we go. All the way. There we go. There. So that's the interface ready. So I'm gonna close that and let's go back in here. So we'll start work with the scripting part of it. So first of all, let's create constants, and this constant is going to be for txt table. I'm gonna put that constant anyway, so copy this and just dump it on it. So one is going to be for the button and one for the label. No, one for the list box. It's called select. So I'm going to call this BTN for the button. I'm going to call this LST. Right. So let's take care of the text, that of the text first. So in case of the text, is going to be equals document. So dot get whatever we have inside the ID. element by ID. And where do we get that from? We get it from the text boxes, the inputs. We have to close that. And we're going to repeat the same thing for the others. So this will just copy and dump it here. Let's change the names around. This is BTN. And next is LST. It is called input. It's called select, sorry. All right, that is done. So the next thing is we need to now put together the line of code for the system to check whatever we have on the text box. So text box dots add event listener. Event listener. Yeah, event listener. And I would notice that we listen to click. Now I'll just enter equals to that. So we now need to check out the value. The value txt table dot value that is going to be equals nothing. Then we also need to set focus on it. Focus and dot parenthesis without. So that's taken care of. Let's take care of that of the button now. So I'm going to grab all of these again. Down here. So we need to listen to the button as well using event listener. BTN dot add event listener when it clicks, and in this case we say constant, that will be input, and that is equals txt value. Okay, whatever value we have in here, submit. That's same, and parentheses, close that up. Then LST, which is the selector, dot inner HTML, that will be equals. Yeah. So let's use an if statement to check if there's any value or not. If there's no value, a message should be displayed. So using an if statement right down here, if input equals, we use 3 equals in JavaScript. Then we need an alert, which is equivalent to the message box. So alert as can be, you must enter a number. You must enter a number, and that's for the alerts. Then we also need the text box to get focus, the input to get focus, and then it. Okay, and return. There we go. And close that off. That's one down. So the next thing we want to now do is let's declare a constant. I'm going to call that Q. That will be equals Q. That's just the name. I call it just like a variable. Then we ask it to pass an integer, and whatever you pass in should come from the input. Okay. So whatever I see in here is now passed into Q. Then we also need an if statement that will check if there's something in it or not. So I'm going to copy this and just change it to that. So if is not, so let's say if is not, the value is now Q, then an alert. You must enter the value, or please enter the, okay, you must enter a valid number. A valid number, okay. Then text, you can say, you can play whatever you have in there, play that up. And set focus. So that is taken care of as well. Okay. Now let's assume everything went as we want. In this case, we will have to then use the for loop, or let I, that's a variable that I'm declaring, let I equals 1, comma, I is less than or equals to 12, and equals to 12, then I plus plus. I plus plus, close the half without the parentheses, and then use a constant again. So this constant I'm going to create, call that option, and option is going to be equals document dot create element, and what element are we creating? That's going to be option. Next, we'll now say option dot text. Let's get that indented. Dot text, and that is going to be equals. So enter a back tick there. Okay, look at that back tick. That is it right there. Okay, right above the tab. Enter a back tick, and we then enter the dollar sign. Open up the statement block, or curly braces if you want to call it that. I'm now going to enter the value of I, and I'm going to then multiply that. Enter the sign multiply, or multiplication sign. Then I will enter Q right now. So this will generate 1 to 12, and here we generate whatever value we enter in the input. And here we now need to multiply both. So to do that, I'm just going to grab hold of all of this, dump it there, and get rid of this. I will enter the star. The star signifies multiplication sign. Right, then here we enter back tick, enter semicolon. So now I want to display everything, whatever we have in the options, we want to display it on the text, on the select. So we come in here and then say lst.add, and what you are adding is the option. There we go. And that takes care of your multiplication timetable. So let's close that. Close up the brackets. There we go. And that is it. So I'm going to save that. Okay. Have a good look at the lines of code and we'll run it. Bring it down and down. Okay guys, so let's try it out now. Saved. That is right here somewhere. Times table 4. They will double click on that. Enter a value. Let's say we enter 7. There we go. Look at that. Okay, see that? But here it's now changing. Let me go back in the code. Let's see. I want the mouse over to change. I think this might be the fault. Okay, let's try it out again. So change to that blue in the solid blending. All right, let me try it out. Save that. Now back in again. Double click. Enter a value. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. See that, guys? All right, and that's how you create your own multiplication timetable in JavaScript. So just before I go, let me show you guys the lines of codes one more time, then I'll call it bye for now. Check this out. Bring it down and down and down. You can always pause and just have a good look at it. There. So with that, guys, I'm gonna call it the end of this brilliant tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoy it, and please do subscribe to this my channel. And you can also join to become a member of the channel. You all have a nice day now, and bye for now.